Always like to start with a little humor, right? Did you know by replacing your potato chips with grapefruit as a snack, you can lose up to 90% of what little joy you still have left? True story. True story. Oh no, I'm under attack. Beer is now cheaper than gas. Drink, don't drive. I lost my job at the bank on my very first day. A lady asked me to check her balance, so I pushed her off. Aren't you glad we don't check your balance like that? Whole, boneless, skinless chicken, 50 cents each. Police came around last night and told me my dogs were chasing people on bikes. My dogs don't even have bikes. I'm fat, but I identify as skinny. I'm trans slender. That's me. She said she missed me. Normally that would be a good, but she's reloading. Got a little of that lately. Survival tip. If you get lost in the woods, start talking about politics and someone will show up to argue with you. It's probably true. I told my wife I saw a deer on the way to work. She said, "How do you know he was headed to work?" We're going in, lads, and I won't lie to you, some of us won't be coming back. So, just out of curiosity, how many of you lose socks in the dryer? Yes, everybody? Do you ever find somebody else's socks? Yeah? I always wonder where they go. Motherhood Incorporated, Human Resources. One vacation day a year, that's all I get. We call it Mother's Day, but technically you still have to work. Mom, we've hired a few people to fill in for you while you relax on Mother's Day. Moms, just like dads, but cleaner, smarter, and more patient. True story. Someday, when you have kids of your own, you'll understand why Mommy and Daddy drink. All right. Mr. Woodrick, time for commercial break. Green Dot Program.
Thank you, Chuck. May is a good day for Westminster and for the environment. You know that we just started up this recycle the takeout food thing, and that's going to save a lot of plastic waste, a lot of trash that we don't have. And real soon, like maybe next week, we're going to start saving a few trees. And we're going to do that through this thing called a Green Dot Program. This is something that Manny Sublevarian here came up with a couple of years ago. Manny, wave. So this is Manny's project, and you can now call him Mr. Tree Saver from here on. At any rate, the idea is really fairly simple. This is a totally voluntary program, but if you are comfortable getting messages from Westminster of all the various kinds that we get, getting those digitally, that would either be in your email or on the portal, such that you don't feel you need paper stuck in your cubby, like that picture right there shows, then you sign up for the Green Dot Program. You'll go down and get a Green Dot from the receptionist, and you'll stick it right somewhere on your name, on your cubby, and the staff, all of the various staffs that's sticking things in there, when they get to your cubby, they won't put it in your cubby. And so this is a way that you can make an individual choice to make a difference and save some paper. And there'll be a note that comes out here, I think, fairly soon that tells you all this and how to get it started. and it's really a good deal. And I want to emphasize, though, that if you are not prepared to do that, you don't have to. You don't have to do a thing. The paper will keep coming in your cubbies, and hopefully, as time goes on, we'll see fewer and fewer filled slots in a cubby like that as we go forward. So that's the Green Dot program. Thanks to Manny. He came up with the idea. We developed it in the IT committee. Chuck just approved it, and it's coming out.
Mrs. Gilling would like me to remind everybody that there are beaded necklaces back there for your pendants. How many people in this room are wearing your pendant today? Ooh, it gets better and better. They're not so heavy, are they? All right, good, good. And also, Brian would like me to remind you yet again to please return your reusable to-go containers. We do not have an unlimited supply. Who filled out their survey? Well, thank you very much. Appreciate that. I'll just skip this part then, about reminding you just to take 15 minutes to fill out that survey. How many wrote something nice about me? I'm just kidding. I was just tricking you. Okay. Questions and answers. In years past, we had bus trips to the Fine Arts and Contemporary Arts museums in Houston, Dallas, and Fort Worth. It was a long day, but we were able to see great shows and had a pastry stop in LaGrange when we went to Houston. Why have these trips been eliminated? I don't believe that they have been eliminated. We wait for big expeditions and then go. The last one was in January. There were 22 residents that went on that trip. If you have additional trips in mind, please reach out to Ruth or the Activities Committee. And they're currently working on a tour of the Kimball Art Museum in Fort Worth in July. How many times do you need to walk around the circular Windsor courtyard path to make 1 mile? 18.65. I would just round it up to 19. The emergency pull cord box has a check mark on the top left area. If you push this spot, will it send an alert just like pulling the cord does? No, it will not send an alert. You must pull the cord to send an alert. We use the checkbox to reset the emergency pull stations. So if you press that, you're just resetting the box. Please pull the cord. And also don't wrap the cords around the emergency pull stations, right? We talked about that last time. If we have a tornado alert, much more serious than a tornado warning, can our fire alarm go off with a pulsating space sound to distinguish it from a fire alarm sound? Any loudspeaker announcement of a tornado alert at night might not be heard by residents asleep in another room. I don't believe that our fire alarm system does that, but we will look into this option. We do maintain a list of residents that may need assistance during an emergency, so if you're one of those residents that thinks you might not hear the alerts on the emergency call system, let us know, and we'll make sure that we come by your apartment or call you on your phone. Can the bathroom doors inside the hall at the pool be made accessible with hand wave sensors? They are very hard to access if you're using a walker. And we'll look into that issue, but I'm not really sure if they can. Those are wood doors, I believe, and it's difficult to put those automatic opening devices on a wood door. But we maybe can slow down the closing function on it and maybe make the door a little easier to open and hold open for a longer period of time. So we'll look at that, okay? Will Harrisville Hall ACE Audio Project have captions provided for live broadcast? Captions for the programs recorded for playback later, available on YouTube. My children and grandchildren sometimes looked at the videos and talked with me about them. Actually, I talked to Ruth about that, and you have the ability to turn on captions in YouTube. There's a button on the screen when you're watching a YouTube video, you CC button, and you just press that button. What typically happens, though, it takes 2 or 3 days, once we've posted like the Chuck Chat or something to YouTube, for YouTube to put the captions on there. So there might be a little delay, but if you wait 4 or 5 days, you should be able to use the closed caption function. When is the next tour of the Associate Treehouse area? We'd like to see what it looks like. How many of you have seen it already? Okay, sneaky vote. Now, we'll try to do that probably late June or early July. We'll probably schedule it around 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so we don't have a lot of associates in there at the time, showering and whatnot. What is the difference between the ACC scholarship and the Westminster scholarship? How are the donations used? Is Mrs. Leach here? No? The ACC scholarship is set up as an endowment fund at ACC by the Westminster Residents Association, and that can be used for scholarships at ACC, so anybody can apply for that scholarship. They've specifically, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Westminster Residents Association has identified those scholarships for nursing and culinary, so that's the focus. But anybody at ACC can apply for those scholarships. The Westminster Scholarship Fund is managed as a benefit for our associates. And how that works is any associate is eligible to apply, and they can have up to $5,000 a year towards college. It can be ACC. If it is ACC, $5,000 pays for a full ride 1 year scholarship at ACC, no matter what the subject is, out of district. I think it's $4,800 if you're in district. In the Austin area, then it's $2,400. And so we have a couple associates taking advantage of it. That's supported by donations from residents, families. Also, Westminster donates to it. Our vendor partners donate to Westminster and support that associate scholarship fund. We call it a tuition reimbursement. You can certainly make a donation, and it is tax deductible donation if you're interested in donating to that specific tuition reimbursement. It's about, I think it's about $180,000 right now. If you remember, I had a big fundraising campaign on our 55th anniversary, and I asked all of our vendor partners to donate $5,500, and almost all of them did. And so that was a big help in growing that fund. Question, the sign-in boards in the tower gym are taped down to the counter so you can't pick them up. This makes it hard to sign in if you are using a walker or wheelchair, and almost impossible if you're in a wheelchair. Can they please be untaped? You promise not to steal them? Apparently they disappeared a couple times, and that's why they started taping them down. I don't know, maybe they're nice clipboards. But we'll untape them and see how it goes. We might have to put a chain on them like the pins at the bank or something. I don't know. I had a little, when you run a nursing facility, you're required to keep the last year's survey results in a public accessible area. And I used to have this little lady that was in the healthcare center years ago that every time she saw it, she would take it. And so we ended up chaining it to the wall. And then we gave her her own binder to take with her. So we tried to meet her halfway there. Is the additional solar film planned for all apartments in the Carlisle and Windsor expansion, or is it something we can participate in or not? It's going to be the entire Windsor building and the entire Carlisle building. And the reason for that is we want to have a consistent look. Anybody remember what the Preston looked like before the exterior project on it? We had pink tents and green tent and black tent, and it was just kind of a hodgepodge of window tinting. So we really do want to have a consistent look to the building. Also, it's a huge benefit to do this solar film. The heat gain is reduced by like 95% with the solar film. I had it installed as a sample, so kind of a beta test on my office and the boardroom. And both of those spaces were extremely hard to keep air conditioning before we had this done. And since it's happened, it's nice and cool in those spaces, and so it's a huge, I think, energy savings for the campus if we can do all the windows. And it really does not dissipate your view at all. So if you get a chance, or if you're worried about it, stop by the healthcare center desk and ask to look in the boardroom, and you can look in that space and see what they've done. Now, when they install the solar film, it has some bubbles in it, which is, they tell me, normal process, but those basically dissipate over 3-4 weeks. It seems like they are dissipating, but there's still some bubbles in that beta test. So this is a new solar film that has a 15-year warranty and is supposedly one of the best solar films on the market as far as energy and heat reduction. So I'm pretty impressed by the project. So we're going to do something a little different today. I'm going to open it up to a few questions for about 10-15 minutes, and then we're going to try to get Paula Perez up here, who is retiring this month after 38 years. She does not like big gatherings. She told me specifically that she didn't want to have anything to celebrate her retirement. Well, I just can't do that, right? So we're going to try to trick her into coming up here, all right, in just a little bit. And yeah. So I'm going to open it up to a few questions. Be kind. It's been a rough week.
No questions?
No questions? Oh, there's one all the way in the back.
Oh, okay.
It always takes a little while to get started. You can also tell a funny story if you want. You got a funny story back there? Okay. Be just a minute. Let her bring the microphone around to you.
Chuck, will the solar film be available for the people over in Preston? I have a west-facing apartment that gets very hot all summer long, and it's really hard. I basically have to keep my blinds down to stand the summer temperatures in my apartment. The air conditioning can't overcome it. So I have asked in the past for additional solar film on my windows because I know that can help a lot. And I was wondering if we would be able to get the newer, better variety for that in the Preston as well.
So this project specifically is for the Windsor and the Carlisle, but I do hear what you're saying. We will check into that. The issue is that you sometimes can't put an interior solar film on as well as an exterior solar film. So you have all of the windows in the Preston have an exterior solar film on them. And some of those have been damaged, and we should be replacing them the next few weeks. But if you put solar film, if it's like a 2-pane glass, and you put solar film on the inside as well as the outside, a heat can build up and actually cause those glass panels to break and crack and shatter. So we have to be careful we have to research and find a solar film that can be used in combination with an exterior film that doesn't build up heat in that window pane. So we'll look at that. Anybody else in the Preston feel like having more solar films a good idea? Yeah, okay.
I have a question about how the marketing tests people to see if they need to be in independent living or maybe in memory or assisted living.
Okay.
I feel like there are a lot of people that are moving into independent living that maybe shouldn't be there, that are lost.
Yeah, this question comes up every once in a while. And do you remember the health assessment and the mini mental that you tested with when you first came in? Did everybody do that? Yes, right. Actually, so we do that with everyone that comes in, and we score all of you, and that's how you qualify. Our scoring requirement on that test is more stringent than any community in the LCS portfolio. So across the country, ours is the highest. You have to have a 27 to get into our independent living. And that's as good as you can do it, right? That's as high as you can really maintain. There's a lot of ADA requirements. A lot of communities that have, that are CCRCs that aren't what we call type A communities, where we're a type A community. That means your monthly service fee stays about the same no matter what level of care you're at. So you're getting a discount, right, when you go into assisted living or skilled nursing. And because we offer that discount, we can do the health assessment and the mini mental. But if we didn't offer that discount like a lot of other senior living communities, then you can't even test when people come into independent living. And so I know what you're saying and how you feel about that, but our test is as stringent as you possibly can be. But some people do well on the assessment and the mini mental, and then because of the move process, it's so stressful for them that they can have a quick decline. And that happens on occasion. And what we try to do is set them up with a good partner to help move them. Because of moving, you remember what moving is like? It's a little traumatic. And when people are, in a home and they've been there for 40 years and you have to start something new, it can be traumatic for them. And sometimes it forces a decline, a quick decline. And so they may have passed the test 3 months ago, and by the time they move in, something's happened and they decline. And then, of course, if they decline, we intervene and we try to establish what level of care they need and get them that support. Hope that answers your question. Any other questions?
Tell us the real story of the elevator in the B wing.
The real story. So the B wing, so both A and B wing have been what they call modernized. And this happened, I think we modernized it in 22. And when it was modernized, an air conditioning system had to be put into the mechanical room that serves the elevator. The condensation drain plugged up and got into the motor and burned up the motor and basically killed the elevator. Unfortunately, motors are hard to come by nowadays, like a lot of electronic components. I'll give you an example. We have a solar grid on the Preston building, and it's ready to go. But we need a transfer switch to install into our electrical grid for the Preston building that won't be here until April of 2025. So there's that much lead time on some components right now. The elevator motor is going to take, we paid for, expedited service. And as quick as we can get it, which is 3 weeks from the date that the motor went down, that's as quick as we could get it, even paying the expedited fees. And I understand what it is to lose an elevator, and a lot of you have mobility problems, and I'm so sorry. And if I could fix it myself, I would. I've talked about, taking a motor from the service elevator and putting it on that one. They're not compatible. That can't happen. I have, 2 elevators that serve, the Arbor area. One that's dedicated to independent living. If we lost one of those elevators, that would be okay, because we have another one right beside it. Is that motor compatible? No. Is there a construction site that we could pull a motor from that's not ready to open yet? I've ran all the traps, done everything I can to try to get the motor in, but it is what it is. And we are constantly spending resources on capital improvements, and the elevators are no different. We modernize them. Unfortunately, the modernization and the way that they installed it became a problem in this instance. We had the condensation drain moved so that doesn't happen again, and the motor, as soon as it comes in, they'll put it in. They know how important it is to us, but that's the real story. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
I had a question on the tinting. I went into the boardroom to look at it, and it's nice, clear. I'm not worried about the bubbles, but it's kind of yellow. Did you have any choice of colors when you choose the tint, or has that decision already been made?
Yes and no. What we were looking for was the best, heat prevention, and that's what we were told is the best. On the outside, it looks black. It's almost black looking in, and it kind of changes. I was a little worried about the aesthetics of the building changing a little bit, because we're going from kind of a green tint on those spandrel panels of glass to a blacker look. But I think it looks good. I think that's about the best we can do. That is a solar film. The nice thing about this solar film that's on the boardroom, it doesn't require a wet seal, and it doesn't have any lead in it, which is really the first choice. Because if you put a wet seal on it, and basically that means they caulk the solar film against the frame of the window, you're adding another $500,000 to the project. So I really would rather avoid that if I can, and this solar film doesn't require a wet seal. So I think it's probably the best that we can do. Yes, ma'am.
Does Westminster have any plan to put in the budget to have the clinic staffed on the weekend?
Not at this time, no.
For what reason?
Well, we would have to hire another FTE to do that. The current associates aren't capable of working 7 days a week or covering the 7 days a week. The business model really doesn't support that. There's not enough business on the weekends, we believe, to support another FTE. Nurse practitioners are very expensive. And so it just doesn't support weekend coverage right now. We have nurses that cover emergency call on the weekends, but not the clinic being open. The fact that we have a clinic at all is unusual in senior living. Most senior living communities don't have it. It's really a loss for us to have one. It doesn't even make ends meet really at this point.
So when you are ill on the weekends, you call,
Your primary physician, or go to the emergency room. Yes. If you're having an emergency in your apartment, you can pull your cord, and we will respond with a nurse.
thank you.
The nurse practitioner clinic, the wellness clinic, is not meant to replace your attending physician, your primary care physician. It's to supplement. It's to provide convenience, really. It's a convenience clinic. That's all the questions I'm going to take today. Hi, Paula. How are you doing? Congratulations on your retirement. We can't let you go. We can't let you go without saying goodbye. All right, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We're going to miss you something awful. You're the first person that I saw when I came to work here at Westminster 16 years ago. And
Thank
you've done
you.
a great job for 38 years. We wanted to show you our appreciation
Thank you, sir. Thank you. You've been a great boss, too.
Oh, thank you.
And thanks to the residents for putting up with me all these years. Gave me the chance to serve you all.
So,
Okay. And I thank you to the residents for giving me the chance to serve them, to help them, and put up with me. And I really love you and gonna miss you all so much. You're part of my life. 39 years that I've been here, it's been very grateful to me. I'm so glad and I'm so thankful for everything that I went through here with you all. And this is what I like. This is what made me happy. But I have to go. Now it's time for me to go to take care of my family. But I will keep you all on my heart. And always remember Westminster for putting up with me.
our pleasure. Our pleasure. So this is a little board resolution honoring your time here, and here's some funny money.
Okay,
To
thank you,
play
sir.
with.
Thank
And
you.
we're gonna have some cake, okay?
Okay.
And you're gonna relax for about 30 minutes, and we're just gonna have
What
a good
about-
time.
What about Heather that I have to cover for her?
I think they're gonna take care of it.
Okay.
All right? Thank you.
Okay.
All right, let's hang out for a while. Let's have some cake.
Come back to see us.
I will, if it's possible. Oh,
Open it, Paula. You have to show everybody. No, that one you have to open it. Tell her, open it, open it. She definitely wants our best sponsor.
oh, Maria, can you help me open it?
Yeah, wrap it.
And also, I thank all the Westminster managers and employees for being with me all these years.
You were gonna open the present, Paula.
Okay, I'll be there. Oh, look at that. Nice.
I'll help you.
Yeah, help me.
She doesn't wanna show it, but.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, you can take
Oh,
this with you. Let me take a picture.
Oh, I didn't know that was that. Oh my goodness.
Now hold
Nice.
it
The
here,
best of
Chuck,
all,
let me
there's
take a
no
picture.
picture. I was gonna say, the best of all, there's no picture of me on it.
Oh, Lord.
Love it.
Okay. Oh, beautiful.
Thank you.
All right, let's have some cake.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, my God. Thank you, Paul. Let's serve, yep, I'm done.